Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, it's a pleasure to welcome you and also to thank you to come to this ACM Recommender Systems Conference, and thanking not only for coming but also for bringing back the summer, because it was already autumn here in Vienna and now it's warm again. We also welcome you here in Austria and in Vienna, in the nice city of Vienna, and also at the Technical University of Vienna, TU Wien. And it's a pleasure to me to hand over to the rector, Professor Seidler, for her opening address. She is the rector of our university.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, distinguished guests, a warm welcome also from my side. It's a great pleasure for me and for TU Wien that the 9th ACM Recommender Systems Conference takes place in this house. This is a very special year of our university because we celebrate our 200th birthday in about 6 weeks. This anniversary gives me the opportunity to learn more about the history of my university in various aspects, and I want to share some of my knowledge with you. For example, the founding ceremony of the Polytechnisches Institut was carried out on November the 6th in 1815. The first lecture started only one day after, with 47 students and 3 professors. Today, we have about 29,000 students and 350 professors. The founding idea of the institute was based on a lack of employees with knowledge in engineering and science, a comparable situation as today. The Freihaus, where the conference is located, is historical ground. On this place, in Mozart times, the Schikaneder Theater was located, where the premiere of Mozart's Magic Flute happened 224 years ago. The university building is much more younger, it's about 40 years old. Let us come back to the 19th century. The first 50 years of the institute were very successful. The number of students increased very strong, up to 1,900. You remember, we started with 47. But the number of professors wasn't keeping up with the pace. Only 16 professors teach these 1,900 students. Today, I am and you are guests of the Faculty of Informatics that was established in 2004 through the University Act. But you can study computer science since the academic year 1970-1971. That means since about, I can say 50 years, more or less. Like other facilities of TU Wien, the Freihaus campus is in the middle of a restoration period. Please excuse the inconvenience caused. I have read about the successful meetings in the past, and I'm sure the organizers have done their best, the weather, for example, for a successful 9th conference. I thank the organizers, wish the conference all the best, and you an enjoyable stay in Vienna. Thank you.
So we continue with the opening, and just some words on the participation. So we have 480 participants. Today I think we are reached 490. And we started with an initial forecast of 300 to 350, which is, let's say we are overcrowded somehow, but as somebody said, it's better to have too many than too less. And this is also the reason we are streaming all the sessions to the Hörsaal 5. So if you don't find a place, maybe tomorrow, you can also go to Hörsaal 5. Having this number of participants having you here, we have to confess that we also failed to master the RecSys 2014 challenge, which was introduced by Kopsa, the last year's chair, who said to estimate or forecast the right number of participants for the next year, which we completely failed. And I know why we failed, because it was not based on objective data, it was done on personal communication. Even if we had a statistically large number of subjective advices, they were all wrong. So this was we had this wrong number. But we hope we will manage it, or we will manage it together with you. There might be some shortcomings somewhere, but I hope it will be, and I'm sure it will be a successful conference. This is the registration line over the time in percentages accumulated, and it's interesting to see that up to the change from early registration to late registration, it's somehow approximated by a quadratic function. It's really going up like this, and then it's really somehow flat. These are the top 10 or top 8 countries. It's still the US being the major player, both on the academic as well as the industry side in this domain. And then we have the other European countries, but China is 5th. This changed to the US. Last year it was number 1 was US, and 2nd was China, and 3rd was Japan. So this is, but we keep, the US is still number 1 in participation, and it's really a thank to the participants from the United States. Another table for me is even more surprising, that if you compare academia with industry, we have a higher industry participation in this conference than academia participation. Even if there's a high percentage where we were not able to assign to one of the 2 classes, so the separation of the classes didn't work properly, at least how we did it, but it's a very high participation from industry. Even if it's a very high-level academic conference with we have a rather low acceptance rate and things like that, participation from industry is very high. Registration types. This is even more astonishing, is that we have very few members, very few of you are members of ACM. Then there are student members, which are student ACM members, which did student participation. We link to ACM student membership for having it easier in the registration. I hope you excuse this. But it's very high up. Over 50% of you are non-ACM members. Okay? This might be a chance for ACM to follow up as an association, a worldwide association for recruiting new members. For example, also organizing this conference. I thought this would be much higher. These are the chairs. I'm not going through all of them. I just want to mention Markus Zanker, who is the co-chair of this conference, and he will speak after me. Thank you. And then we have the program chairs, demos chair, industry co-chairs, and then tutorial chairs, doctoral symposium, workshop chairs, and publicity chairs. You see a huge range of different activities during these conferences, and different types of sessions, different types of content. And this is only possible due to the work of these chairs and co-chairs, organizing it, managing, inviting you to come, and enabling all those things. And we have also the organizational part, with the local arrangement, especially Christoph Grün. Many of you might have seen him already or received an email from him. We have the IT and the web chair, Benedikt Löb, who did an excellent job of maintaining the website, and we have the 2 ladies being responsible for the registration, which worked quite well, I think, this morning and also during lunchtime. The schedule also shows you how rich the program is in different types of presentations. We yesterday started with the PhD workshop dinner, which some of you have missed, I see, and it was excellent. Today we had this morning already the tutorial and the challenge. And this afternoon we have technical sessions in a parallel track in addition to the keynote. Tomorrow we have in both technical and industrial session, we again have parallel tracks, which is let's say, a new feature of the conference, which was previously not the case. So we are doing many of the technical sessions of the technical papers in parallel tracks. The other room dedicated for this technical session is Hörsaal or Lecture Room 5. And on Saturday, Sunday, we have PhD workshop and the other workshops. You have coffee breaks in the morning and in the afternoon, and you have lunch at noon, and tomorrow lunch will be the giveaway will be somehow better organized with 3 major queues, so we can make it a little bit faster. What is also, we have opened the room opposite the Hörsaal 1. This is a room where you can sit all the day if you want, which was not open this morning. So where there was a part for the lunch was there, so there you can sit and also work if you want. We have the 2 keynotes, one today with Oliviero, which I will introduce after one, and one on Friday with Igor Perisic from LinkedIn, and this will be introduced by Gianni, I think. We have the industry program with 2 or 3 sessions, which is organized by Tomonkos and Werner. They have this media, TV, people and skills with those participating companies here, and then we have something on platforms and location-based services. And then we have a panel discussion where we had a very long discussion which topic to choose, and we had the discussion on startups in the arena of recommender system, which might be a hot topic, because is it still place for new startups, or are the big players already so big that new startups, it's difficult for them to enter the place? And this we want to discuss with players from the big industry and from small industry and with academia. Just 2 slides and then I hand over. These were the tutorials, and the challenge. What is interesting here is the high number of participants. So we had really 160 to 170 participants in those different tutorials. It is very high because you could register for the tutorials and the workshops. And there's the same number you can see on the workshops on Sunday and Saturday, where you have very high numbers on these different workshops. So those of you who know which workshop you want to go, they're also in this building. So it's also here very high participation, and I want to thank the workshop organizers and the chair for doing that. And it shows that you will also work on Saturday, Sunday, where there will also be lunch served as well as coffee break. So with this I finish now, and I hand over to Gianni, who is the program committee chair, and he will tell you something about the papers, submission and so on.
Thank you, Hannes. Thanks to everybody. Time for some information about the submissions and the review process, starting from program committees. This year we had a quite large program committee members with 97 regular PC members and 34 senior PC members. And the total number of review assignments was 665. And at the end of the review process, there were only 4 missing reviews in the EC Chair conference management system. So as PC chairs, we are very grateful to all PC members for their hard work that is so relevant for the success of this conference. I would like to make an applause to all PC members. The distribution of PC members by country is shown by this pie chart. There is a clear majority of PC members from USA, with many representatives from European countries such as Germany, Ireland, Italy, Spain, but also Israel and China have a lot of representatives there. And the review process was very articulated. We received a total number of 215 submissions, out of which 131 were long papers and 84 were short papers. Each submission was assigned to one senior program committee and at least 2 regular PC members. And at the end of the review process, there was time for discussion between reviewers and meta-reviewers, and so the final decisions were made based on reviews, meta-reviews, that reflected the outcomes of this discussion too. If we analyze the distributions of submission authors by country, again we can see a clear majority of authors with an affiliation from United States, followed by China. So we have 118 authors from United States, 47 authors from China, 44 authors from Italy, 33 from Germany, and so on. So there is a clear representation of the authors' distributions by country in this pie chart. And the outcome of this review process was that we accepted 28 long papers, which amounts to an acceptance rate of 21.4%, and 22 short papers with an acceptance rate of 26.2%. And this table summarizes the acceptance statistics of the last 5 editions of this conference series. And we can make 2 remarks. One is that the acceptance ratio this year compared to last year was decreasing for long papers with minus 1.6% of acceptance rate, while for short papers there was a slight increase of 1.8%. And similarly to last year, there was no conversion between long and short submissions, which means that no long submissions were accepted as short papers. This is the histogram that is available in the ACM digital libraries and how it will look like in the next future. I just took the already available histogram in the digital library, ACM digital libraries, and I updated the figures with the acceptance statistics about this year conference. Next to transparency shows the tag clouds that I have generated starting from keywords provided by authors of accepted papers. So we can see that topics that are more relevant for long papers, according to author keywords, are collaborative, filtering, matrix, factorization, and so on. If we neglect recommendation or recommender, of course. And if we made the same exercise with the key phrases that are available in the EasyChair conference management system, and it's interesting to observe that the 2 tag clouds are very similar, and the same was made for short papers. And here it's interesting to say that short papers focus more on topics like social, tagging, preference, model, and the results are similar, working on keywords from authors or EasyChair key phrases. Last information concerns distinguished papers. A special committee was formed with the aim of selecting the 3 distinguished papers that are candidates for Best Paper Award. And we are happy to announce that these 3 distinguished papers are Applying Differential Privacy to Matrix Factorization by Arnaud Berlioz, Arik Friedman, Mohamed Ali Kafar, Roxana Borelli, and Shlomo Berkowski. And the second one is Gaussian ranking by matrix factorization by Harald Steck. And the third one is context-aware event recommendation in event-based social networks by Augusto Macedo, Leandro Marigno, and Rodrigo Santos. I would ask you to make an applause to all the authors of these papers. Thank you. So, time for Marcus to give you some information about available services.
So, thank you. Also, a warm welcome from my side. So I want just to make a few additional announcements. So one on obvious services. So as you can notice, Wi-Fi, I hope it works. Yeah, still quite well. As the top most important service, but also food is very important, I assume. Please. So we have four stations for food, for coffee. 4 coffee break stations, so they don't need to be queues there. We also for lunches we will check for making sure that we get additional counters. Also, what's important with respect to lunch is that also on Saturday and Sunday lunches will be served here. Yeah, so also for workshops, no need to check for alternatives. And Hannes already announced that for seats and desks you can also use the lunchrooms. That is just right across this lecture room, and student volunteers, you will identify them based on the blue polo shirts. All these services and then the infrastructure for that conference might not have been available and possible the way it is now if we wouldn't have had the generous support of our sponsors and supporters. So we were very grateful, and we would like to thank and give an applause to our sponsors. So having Amazon as diamond supporters, Booking, Netflix, Xing, and Pandora as a platinum supporter of that conference. Additional 4 gold supporters, content-wise, IBM Research, OpenTable, and Criteo, and Yahoo Labs as a additional silver supporter. So let us thank the sponsors. Furthermore, we are happy to have additional supporters or sponsors. Obviously, SIG Kai as being the main sponsor of that conference, and but we're also happy to have UChoose as a specific supporter who did an excellent job in organizing that challenge and bringing it to such a high participation levels. And obviously also we have generous support by the municipality of Vienna, also by the local Chamber of Commerce, obviously also by Technical University Vienna, and also other supporters. So I think that is very important in order to organize a conference at this range. So for streaming recording, it's important to notice that we have that streaming to the lecture room 5. Also, it's important to know that all technical papers and keynotes, so given that presenters will agree, will be recorded and they will be put to the ACM Digital Library and also to a YouTube channel. Important, in addition, our additional evening events. So we will have the conference reception. So all presenters of posters and demos will present their posters there, and it's just right across this building, and then to the right it's the historic main building of the university, and there in the ground floor we will have the reception tonight at 7. And we will have the conference dinner at a very specific place, so we will have it in the Vienna City Hall. We will also have a small program innovation there, because we also will have a dinner speech from our main sponsor of that conference. And you can easily reach the city hall either by foot with a 15-20 minutes walk in the evening, or you can reach it via the metro line U2, and it's the third stop, so it's exit Rathaus. So just to make sure you have it in your folder. Finally, also an additional small social event as a program innovation. It will be a women's lunch or a specific lunch table, and Elisabeth Kottvois at the registration desk and Tao Ye will be your contact persons. So women, please go to that specifically signed women lunch table for networking. So thank you then from my side, and then I would like to hand over to Hannes to moderate the invited talk. Thank you.